Hello everyone and welcome to the next video. This is a set of videos on effect of taxes, subsidies and quotas on the economy. So the part one of this video will cover the equilibrium of the economy and how to calculate the total surplus. So let's start. The question given is, in an economy, the demand and supply for good alpha are given. Use simple equilibrium to model the following. So we know the demand curve is 500 minus 20 Q. Quantity QD is the quantity demanded, and PD is the price of the quantity demanded. Similarly, PS is the price of that the supplier is willing to supply it, and QS is the quantity supplied. And the supply curve is given by PS is equal to 300 plus 5Q. So first question is, what is the equilibrium price and quantity? So at the equilibrium, we know that the equilibrium quantity demanded and the quantity supplied is the same. So at equilibrium, QD will be equal to QS will be equal to Q. At the equilibrium, without taxation, the price of demand and supply will be the same. So PD is equal to PS is equal to P. So in the first step, let's remove the subscripts. We have P is equal to 500 minus 20Q and P is equal to 300 plus 5Q. Solve the two equations simultaneously. Equate the two equations. 500 minus 20Q is equal to 300 plus 5Q. Now moving this 300 on the left-hand side and moving this 20Q on the right-hand side, we have 500 minus 300 is equal to 20Q plus 5Q. Adding the values give us 200 is equal to 25Q. Now dividing, we have Q is equal to 200 divided by 25 or Q is equal to 8. Insert Q in either the equation of and get the price. So let's start with the by substituting in of consumer demand function. So price is equal to 500 minus 20Q, substitute Q, we get 500 minus 20 times Q, 20 times 8, and this reduces to P is equal to 340. I could have done the same thing with the supply curve. So P is equal to 300 plus 5Q, substitute Q is equal to 8, and we get price is equal to 340. Notice that in an equilibrium without any quotas, subsidies, or taxation, the price that the buyer pays and the supplier receives are same. So the price the buyer pays is 340, the price the supplier receives is 340. The next question is to find the consumer surplus. In this, we will start with the consumer surplus diagram that I shared in another of my videos. You can look at the video to understand what are each of the elements in the video and how are they related. The link of that video is in the description. For the first step, change this equation and accommodate the changes. So what we know current scenario, this demand and the supply function. From the demand function, we know that 500 is the y-intercept of the demand curve and 300 is the demand y-intercept of the supply curve. So I've put A is equal to 500 and C is equal to 300. We know the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So equilibrium price is 340 and equilibrium quantity is 8. With this knowledge, I have refined my supply demand curve, and now I can use it to find the consumer surplus. So to find this consumer surplus, the consumer surplus is this area under the curve, and it could be found by finding the area of the triangle. Area of triangle is given by half into base into height. Now we know the height of the triangle is between 500 and 340. The price. Similarly, the base of the triangle is between 0 and 8. So substituting the base, which is the distance between 8 and 0, and height, which is the distance between 500 and 340, we get a consumer surplus of 640. Similarly, we can find the producer surplus. Producer surplus is again the area under the curve between the price and the supply curve. So it's given by the area of the triangle, where we know that the height is the difference between 340 and 300. The base is the difference between 0 and 8, the quantity is equilibrium quantity. Substituting the base 8 minus 0 and height 340 minus 300, we get the producer surplus as 160. Now, in the last part, we have to find the total surplus. The total surplus is given as the sum of the consumer and producer surplus. If I have the consumer surplus of 640 and the producer surplus of 160, I can add the two surplus to get the total surplus. So total surplus is the sum of consumer and producer surplus, 640 and 160, and it's 800. Thus, in an economy without any form of tax, quotas, and subsidies, the total benefit that the people are getting from having an equilibrium price of 340 and quantity of 8 is $800. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.